surprised on either side. Complete mirror. Sage super strong here. You're going to see a lot of Sages, I think, now start to save their walls for either post plants or specifically on the defense, saving them for the retakes here. We're seeing less and less teams just kind of run a wall down mid, down tube rather. They're definitely going to be a little bit more conservative with those types of utility. So let's have a look. Let's get into it. Icebox ready to go. Both teams locked in, equal rosters, same agents.
Pumped for this one. I mean, it's weird to kind of say it, and I don't know, my mind is going there, so I'll say it. It still feels like we're learning so much about this 100 Thieves roster every single time they put themselves on the map. So will there be another instance of that here? Again, we've got some very dramatic polar opposite results on this map just in the last couple of times for 100 Thieves. Again, we talked about that 1-13 loss versus T1, but on the opposite side, a 13-4 win versus TSM to get them to the point where not only do they play versus Gen G, but also, of course, have a chance to square off versus Luminosity here. So, getting into the pistol, again, just taking a look as far as what the setup will look like. You've got the Killjoy placement largely over towards B defensively. Spike is still being left in the spawn for now as 100 Thieves will go searching for information, and they do find a bit as they'll see that Thief is playing pretty aggressively up by yellow.
They're going to be pulling Dre over towards the orange side of the map as well. This is 100 Thieves just kind of going for a bit of default. I'm not surprised if they just pull back here. They're pretty deep over towards A as well. Decent amount of resistance over towards B, and now you're going to start to see that, yeah, 100 Thieves are definitely going to be making their way onto A. Asuna has a lot of control.
And the Sheriff play not going to be able to find anything early for Steel, as 100 Thieves will collect themselves in their spawn, decide exactly what they want to do, as they will also recover the spike, I have to imagine at this point. Sure will. It'll be Steel that'll take it from the clutches of the icy ground, and it looks like it will be a tube play, at least initially. Now, the spike is not a part of this. Aldrin will scout things out by middle, and there again, there's plenty of information gathering tools here for Luminosity, including the Sentry Dome. Dre will find first blood, and with only 37 seconds to play, you've got to make a move with your 100 Thieves, and unfortunately, they also dropped their spike carrier. Not exactly the well put together round for 100T. And as the kills continue to be traded back and forth, it will be LG left with a 1v3 situation, or pardon me, a 3v1 situation. It's Asuna who's stuck as the one.
Has to be a 1v3 here. Has to be the biggest clutch, and he'll get traded here for sure. In fact, he doesn't even get a kill. Dre with 4 this round will be accelerating over towards from the Shadow's ultimate. And for 100 Thieves as well, trying to really move over towards the mid. Losing, I believe it was Steel who had the spike there, so a super important kill coming through from LG. And not a very common thing unless you're, I guess, a team like Gen G that likes to play more for the mid. I felt like, 100 Thieves had decent control over A. They kind of abandoned that one, cancel, go towards mid, and they lose their spike here. Otherwise, it could have been a mid to B type of play. LG, though, buying up a rifle straight away for YaBoiDre after getting a 4K.
Not atypical. We've seen them do that many, many times before. In these second rounds after a pistol win, Recon Bolt will be deleted, but it does come with a bit of information. Spam shots coming through the bottom side of tube. There's also an alarm buy here. Asuna in a lot of danger, but is able to sneak away to safety, and I say sneak selectively or maybe not. Moose able to combine utility with the weaponry for 2. Proto now pushing forward, finds number 3. Does he recognize that Hiko is also nearby? Well, now he sure does. Sees the shoulder. And wait for a little bit of help as Hiko will find one elimination before falling, but it does leave Nitro to a 1v4.
Pretty much flawless here as well. They dropped the 1 Spectre so far. I mean, if Nitro gets a double dink here, could be a secondary weapon dropped by LG that they won't have to repurchase. But something like it'll be a pretty clean anti-eco for the next round here. Don't really expect Nitro to do... maybe it's a little bit of damage to Moose, but Moose with 3 kills is now 3 away from Hunter's Fury as well. So good farming around from LG there just to collect as much money as possible. Lose as little weaponry as possible for minimal rebuys. Aproto is maybe even just happy to upgrade a pistol here and be on his way. I think the rest of LG are looking pretty safe here. They have some ultimates coming online. Notably, I think Moose's one is quite important. Hiko's keeping parity at 4 and 7 as well as we head into 100 Thieves gun round, their first gun round so far of the map.
I'm interested to see what LG is going to do defensively here, still retaining that Phantom onto YaBoiDre. Looks like for now, 3 players will initially stack over towards A. Once again, it will be Aproto by himself, setting up a little bit of defensive resistance with his utility. Forward by Yell. That'll give information for an early response if required, but Asuna down low. Goodness, how hot has he been, including a double kill with only 1 HP remaining. But Moose in the middle of the map has actually put control in favor of LG's defense. So 100 Thieves, it just comes down to, do you want to try to retake middle or push forward into A? It looks like they're going to do the latter rather than the former.
Rifle's gone as well. Dre had the only gun available. Asuna for 3 now. Just 2 alive for LG. Not looking too hot. Even have a proto still far away now. Wall has come up. I mean, look how aggressive that wall is. Just gives 100 Thieves full control. Back site, free plant in the open. Showstopper earn. Won't even need to be used here. Moose can't enter. And it's not looking great for a proto. We'll have to kind of back out. A proto is the only member that didn't actually have a gun walking in. Just one sheriff. Only looking for a love tap. Possible fights on Nitro. But that might be it.
Nearly gets a chance for a second. Knows there's a phantom nearby. Alarm bot not placed exactly where he wanted to put it. A little bit of comical relief as he looks down at his feet and just has a deep sigh. But it looks like he should be able to get away here. And yeah, it looks like 100 Thieves will allow him to live and collect the phantom. But regardless, for the gun round for 100T, it is successful and they get on the board.
Called that one definitely in a sooner round as well. The 3K coming in very quickly, then close killing your boy Dre. I think the only silver lining here, LG just walking away with that one rifle is actually okay. It will save them a bit of economy money. The rest of the members, I mean, we were looking towards a pretty healthy anti-eco, pretty healthy bonus anyway, when you consider the fact that Proto was the only one that had to kind of die on that anti-eco. He had to rebuy into a sheriff. He gets free gun. In terms of economy, the other 4 members had the money to play with regardless. This should be pretty comfortable for LG, or at least the time being. I'm looking towards ultimates though. Again, the showstopper is there. We have Hunter's Fury on both sides though, very close.
And you have to feel like for 100 Thieves, they really would want to get Hiko in orb if possible, but they're not going to be setting up aggressively through B to do that, so it would have to be over towards A if they want to try to get this Hunter's Fury up this round. Defensive Aldrone from Moose will get a tag in the spam shots with a bit of reveal through the dark cover. Will be good. Steel falling for first blood. Not great news for 100T fans.
And that is going to be a free orb tank coming through from Moose as well. He's like, you know what, I don't need the orb on the ground. I get a kill instead. Asuna diving right towards the back. A lot of utility coming through as well in support. Very aggressive wall over towards screens. He won't get a kill of the showstopper, but they will have a completely free site.
Defensive Hunter's Fury going to come through. Moose hoping to tag, stops the plant for now. Meanwhile, while that kind of clearance by Asuna came through, it's enough to allow Hiko to get a Hunter's Fury of his own. So a 4v5 post plant setup, well, now made a little bit more difficult as Thief enters with another engagement win. Proto up close and personal will be taken down. Ethan inside the dark cover is holding on for dear life, but it's Dre who finds the kill. Trades back and forth, a 4v2, retake looking solid, but we've seen Hiko in this position do more extraordinary things. Hunter's Fury, as expected, will come through. Nitro on the flank, finds one on the exit. Dre gonna try to go for a bit of a stick on the plant, able to find it through halfway. Gonna do more than that. Hiko being pressured. They're gonna hold off on defusing for now. Hiko finds another kill, but he's not in range to contest. So the defusal will come through, and LG take a very important round early, up 3-1.
It's a very bloody round as well. We only have 3 people surviving, 2 on LG, 1 on the side of 100 Thieves. That's Hiko after burning an ultimate. To be fair, Moose also did throw in his own Hunter's Fury. You can see the rebuys here do not look comfortable, I think, for either team. Despite LG winning that one, because they only retain 2 guns, they're going to have to really scrape through for the other 3 here, and that includes a Proto not having full armor. That includes Thief down to 0. Maybe doesn't have full utility here. Asuna looking like it'll just be a potential frenzy round. Wouldn't actually be too surprised if someone on 100 Thieves maybe drops their gun over for him. This is going to be a round where for 100 Thieves, what kind of opening can they get? Looking towards Ayers again, and that's going to be Ethan plus Asuna leaning in that direction. If they can get a gun into Asuna's hands, that would be great. Still have a res available too.
You know, LG have been doing a really nice committed job of making sure that they get their defense on B through yellow container. It's not just on it, they're through it. And they're taking away this entire lane. And for 100 Thieves, I don't know if they've fully recognized how many rounds in a row Luminosity have done this, but they continue to go over towards A, which is the first time that we'll see a Proto with his full setup here. He is also by himself for now. Here comes the hit from 100 Thieves. Resurrection has been earned. Wall will go down. A Proto, considering how far he wants to move forward, and as he considers, he will be taken away. First blood secured for Nitro and 100 Thieves as Ethan gets the plant laid.
And that's the thing, Ethan and the rest of the 100 Thieves, they managed to get a lot of control of the map view. This very aggressive wall over towards screens. LG with the only solo anchor there being a Proto, can't trade for one. Now 100 Thieves in a great spot. Asuna still doesn't have a weapon. They can't quite pick up the drop gun, but they still have plenty of members. And again, I remind you, the resin play as well for this post plant.
Nitro on the lurking roll. Ethan Asuna gonna be good enough for 3. Nitro cleans up the final. And Asuna getting involved with the frenzy as well. Just good team shots coming through, denying the ability for even a slight instance of a retake for Luminosity. And now we've got 100 Thieves on a full gun round, whereas for Luminosity, it will have to be a save.
I do wonder for future gun rounds for LG, you know, what is their plan going to be for A? Because so far they've allowed 100 Thieves, you know, it's not every single time, but that round in particular, where it is just kind of a proto trying to hold on for dear life. The rest of 100 Thieves managed to get themselves a very nice takeover towards A, and they did that previously via the showstopper result. They just completely clean out all defenders. This particular round, the LG are going to be stacking pretty hard over towards A. It's pistols though, so they need to look for close angles. The Aproto's already pushing up, looking for potential timing. Has to be patient though. He just swings. That's not really advisable. He probably goes down.
No instance for a trade either. Dre, almost an opportunity. Should be double chowed here, but wait a second. Finds one, nearly a chance at a second. And now 100 Thieves, as expected, start to take some power over the A site with the more formidable weapons.
It comes down to what kind of counter damage we can have out of this. Even the res as well for the tempo. So you can see the 100 Thieves, they really do value as much eco tempo as well. It's been a decent number of kills. If you consider the res coming into play, what is that, like 3 kills overall?
Yep.
So it's somewhat acceptable for LG, considering they just had the sheriffs. I mean, just looking for damage in that particular round. Nothing really extra, nothing really too special. Ultimates though, 2 on the side of LG. Aproto's nearly on one. Stella's nearly onto the res as well. I think the lockdowns coming in play is going to be fairly important as we start moving ahead, because you sort of have this interesting interaction with both lockdowns can counter each other, and also then the Hunter Sphere can counter the lockdowns as well. So finding a timing for the lockdown where if a Proto can get this well before Steel, they'll have an option to use this where Steel can't really counter it, and the rest of 100 Thieves also can't safely counter it.
Aggressive recon bolt just to see if 100 Thieves early once more are going to be coming over towards the A site. It is deleted. And once again, 100 Thieves just kind of stacking up for what seems to be another A hit. Early Aldrones will also pass by one another. Information for Hiko that the Sage is going to be playing the back left corner. And for Luminosity, they have gone back to their normal default setup where Proto is just lingering over towards B, holding for as long as possible. And here comes the hit for 100 Thieves, at least so it seems, as the Boombot's the first thing forward. And the commitment will be a bit stalled and delayed for now. Now it's, there we go. Blast Pack, Showstopper, denied a lot by the slow orb. Over the top, finds a bit of damage, but no confirmed kill. So 100 Thieves are now committing into this one without much information on what's on the site, including Dre, who does find one elimination. Paranoia is going to come through, but it's going to be the paint shells that actually force him further back. And while he is, it's Hiko who's now made things a 4v4.
Really important that Dre lives here, by the way. Asuna decided to go up the rope into top site to try and get this, showstopper roll some value onto Stella. And then speaking of the showstopper, I mean, Stella does eventually die, but it's going to be a 3v3 where Deeper's the one that actually gets the kill here. Low numbers now on this final 2 remaining for 100 Thieves trying to hold on to the push line.
Big help from Thief, but now Hiko's pushing through. Finds one, tries to snap, gets a second. Looking for his 4th kill in total in the round. Why not? Have yourself a birthday, sir. Cool kid sprays only. 4-3 up goes 100T.
That was looking very difficult at one stage as well. You have Dre swinging through. You have the fact that he kills a planter of Nitro there. You have to have a situation where 100 Thieves can cleanly get the spike back in control, get the plant down safely. And there was also a lot of consideration in terms of the setup for how this round plays out. You noted, by the way, I think you said, Ellen, that it was just a Proto anchoring solo over towards B, which he had done a couple times on A as well. So it was a heavy A presence rather coming through from the side of LG. If there was even one person from 100 Thieves lurking or doing a default over towards B and they noted that B was clean, you would have probably have seen 100 Thieves rotate all the way towards B, and LG would have been very late to the party.
Luminosity, they're going to be tested here on B for the first time, and it is in the face of a full gun round for 100 Thieves where Luminosity are just on pistols and I think a Bucky or 2. Proto holding over by Yellow is going to be in a really awful spot. Still finds one. Boombot chasing him down, but gets away. Brilliant slow orb placement, if I'm being honest, from Stellar, just to try to gain a little bit of space, but it's not quite enough as the trade will be there and we'll go 4v4.
Excellent placement of the turret there as well, which allows Steel to not get swung on by your boy Drake. Obviously, we know Proto is going to be an absolute nightmare with the Sheriff. He gets the 1 kill. We'll see if LG can maybe make more work with it. I don't know if they actually got a gun out of that. At least have made sure that there's going to be a flank coming through, and well, Steel still goes to the tube anyway, so here it is. Maybe that flank is in. Very on the other side, though.
Steel Almost as if he could smell Dre, but it's Thief who comes out to help, finds one, and shot did connect onto Ethan, but it was not enough for elimination, so it's just down to Dre. 1v3, a couple of low health pools. Not out of the realm of possibility, but he would have to collapse on a ton of open space to even see a 100 Thieves member, let alone find kills, and also the defuse behind that. Has a weapon to use. There's the first, finds the kill. 70 HP still to play with. Dark cover's gonna come through, and before it really fully embellished the entirety of the spike, Hiko finds the kill, and 100 Thieves able to get through, but it does come at a bit of a cost here, Avril.
And Dre had about 8 bullets left as well, so it's going to be pretty tough. I think the real cost here is the amount of members that go down to the 100 Thieves side, but beyond that as well, if Dre gets into the kill, he probably forces Hunter's Fury, or he forces some real big response, I think, from Hiko. If he gets the extra Hunter's Fury, that would have been totally worth. So damage is still somewhat relevant in these early rounds. I say that as you look over towards 100 Thieves money, and it's actually pretty strong, but you know, just to make sure that for the rest of the 4 rounds here, keeping 100 Thieves honest in terms of making sure that you're at least forcing the rebuys. It's LG who need to start looking towards getting more rounds in a row to secure this economy. It's not obviously you're getting rounds because you want to win the rounds, but in terms of economy, all they're doing is getting loss bonuses right now. They're not really getting much more than that. They have some ultimates. In fact, got a lot of ultimates coming online, but so do 100 Thieves.
So expect fireworks, I think, and well, Asuna's not gonna wait. Just go straight through, but Dre was here waiting for it. Finds a second behind the play as well. Hiko with the early Hunter's Fury to see if he could stall any defensive rotators to get in the site is now thinking that that was used relatively empty, as Dre is gonna find all 3 kills just playing from that back left corner. Hiko finally sick of it, but takes him off the board, but might be just a day late and a dollar short here. The 2v4 still to kind of navigate for 100 Thieves.
You see, that's a really good read by your boy Dre, who has I think now seen a couple times that it is going to be Asuna aggressively double packing all the way to the back of the site. He goes kind of the same way every single time as well. So all it really takes is one time for Dre to know the timing of it, swing by, know probably where Asuna is going to be in the air, find the headshot required, and take him down. No shopper involved at all. Last 30 seconds, 100 Thieves going quiet and maybe try and force LG away, but this is going to be it now. Moose gets the kill, just one alive from steal, and he'll get cleaned up.
Well, he finds one. I think. Is this his lockdown as well? But there's only 15 seconds to play. He does not have this spike. He will be able to recover it here. A bit of trapeze artistry going on. But this is going to be contested, and well, as it is, Stellar from the high ground finds elimination, and LG bring us back to within 1.
To be fair, I think that was the lockdown coming through while Hiko was still in play, or while there was still 2 members alive. So
yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, the lockdown comes through. You have the extra death coming through from 100 Thieves as well. It ends up being a 1v3. Otherwise, I don't think that would have really been Steel using a lockdown in a 1v3. He would have just accepted that loss. But it really starts with your boy Drake getting that kill into Asuna, then converting off the 2 further. Still a couple of deaths on the LG side, and 100 Thieves making it interesting towards the back end. But now that we do have LG securing a round win, something looks slightly better in the economics of the game, plus 4 ultimates, it should be pretty good to take at least, I would say, 5 and 7, if not 6 and 6 should be the end of the half.
Early defensive Hunter's Fury as Moose is trying to read information through the middle of the map. He does tag up a couple, and Proto from the flank collapses onto 3. Beautiful timing between the 2 of them. And Luminosity, big round here in what was a 5v2. But Ethan and Hiko together are definitely not to be ruled out.
One thing they have on their side is time. They have Hiko alive as well, which is always good to have a late round. Aldron's gone, though. Recon's not up for another 25-ish kind of seconds here. Thief gets a timing, and with Hiko down, Ethan in a 1v4 and potentially even a 1v5, considering if things get really, really bad, so they can go for the rares. But Thief is there, has the angle, has a line secured. And for 100 Thieves, they get shut down big time by Proto over towards, I believe, where was it? Orange. He was near the mid-angle. Then the cleanup towards the end of the round, 2v4, not expecting too much.
I mean, this is the Hunter's Fury. Again, you see 2 low members that are in the mix. A lot of information given up. And then Thief from there, just able to play cleanup crew. And now all of a sudden, you're tied 5-5. Yes, it's still going to be another full gun round here for 100 Thieves, but there might not be enough time to get most of these kind of big execute ultimates back into your favor before the half if you're 100 Thieves, unless you've got a very clean round coming up here.
100 Thieves going for some mid control. It pays off as well. They've been seeing that Moose has been playing over towards Boiler, so now they finally get a timing on him. That's huge as well, because having Moose alive for the retake is important. Stellar knows that LG know they've been holding up the wrist for a while. They'll finally be able to cash that one in with good timing. Aproto does have a little bit of information to see where Asuna was, and at this point in time, with the rest of the Utah flying in towards A, LG respond. 4 of them are here.
Exchange of omen abilities, while the Owl drone offensively for 100 Thieves is able to free up a couple of members forward, including Nitro, who does get a barrier orb down. Spike also being committed, but the defensive showstopper comes out, does take down Nitro. It's the Spike completely taken off the field. Asuna trying to move his way forward, finds one. Knows it's a second up top as he sees the ponytail of the Sage, but instead just tries to play the OBJ. Steel watching over, finds another elimination. 3v3 we go, but the retake quick to come through as the lockdown is also planted in place. Asuna could even get away from this right now is the real question. Steel for sure can, but Asuna has to go towards danger, gets taken down, and the detain also gets in. Steel cannot fully get away. The chase is coming. Can he recover fast enough? The answer, no. Stellar sticking for the defuse, and LG, a huge round for them. They break this tie and go up 6-5.
Yeah, that showstopper from Thief was incredible, taking Nitro down, stopping the plant, making Asuna overcommit as well to have to go for this plant as soon as then, like, well, I'm already very far ahead. Lockdown comes through here, makes an attempt to destroy the lockdown, which is admirable, gets taken down. I don't think he had enough ammo. Steel being caught towards the end there. What I'm going to say is, even if Steel doesn't get detained, that last situation would have been pretty tough for him to play regardless. So just being detained makes LG's job that much easier. And finally, we are going to see operate on the field as well for Thief, who would, again, normally be playing the Jet here, but both teams have decided to move away from that in favor of the Razors, or especially for LG. They did used to play Jet here. 100 Thieves have no plans to play Jet here at all.
Early bit of damage actually going to be put into play, forcing out an early healing orb from Stellar. That was onto Dre, I believe. So a bit of confirmation of some initial tagging going on for 100 Thieves. Thief, Operator now swapping back to the Vandal. Plenty of economy to make sure he's got both weapons in play here for the final round of the half. And 100 Thieves are going to once again just try to make their way over to the Paranoia. We'll get things started. Nitro with a wall, and he's just got barely enough space to get this plant down from this location. Thief trying to do what he can to stall it, but is unsuccessful. But while turning back over, it's going to be Thief and Stellar who find a couple of headshots before 100 Thieves can fully set up their post plant. So now it's going to be down to somebody special to make a play, and well, now it's just down to Nitro. Does find 2. The problem is he's so far away from the rest of his teammates, he can only get 1 res into play. It is Ethan, and, well, there's the push through. Moose will confirm technically 4, and LG will exit the half 7-5. We'll send things over to a small break, swap the sides, and get a little bit of a recap before we get into the second mix of things here in Icebox when we come back after this.
Switching sides.
Lateral, statistically, the offensive half is the stronger half for 100 Thieves, but they come away with only a 5-7. What's your initial thoughts just after the first half?
Really good run by 100 Thieves. You can see in the middle towards, what, round 5 onwards, 5, 6, 7, 8 there, 4 in a row. And for LG, look, I thought there was going to be a bit of a comeback from LG. I knew that Ultimate's coming back on. I knew they just needed to kind of win 1 round, reset the economy a little bit, get a couple more rounds in a row. I was expecting kind of like a 6 finish, but for LG to go 7-5 was actually really impressive towards the end there, especially via some massive heroics. We saw multiple rounds where one player or the other from LG really pulled together something special. You saw Proto, so your boy Dre getting the kill into Asuna mid-air. You saw, it was right at the end, Moose as well for the double. So out of some very impressive individual plays from LG being set up in good areas, LG string together probably 1 extra round than I thought they were going to get on that particular defense. And now on the offense, shifting towards B early on. The Thieves, can they respond?
Dicey fight. Just barely getting the better of Asuna, but Steel responds a little blast pack play from Thief, so we stay even 4v4. And how about this? Actually, the spike is still not planted yet. Again, a little bit of artistry here from Steel as he finesses on the ropes. He will find elimination, and that is not a spike plant in the mix. So we go 3v2 after everything is all said and done in favor of 100 T's defense.
It's still no spike plant either, so this is going to be very difficult now. Segments of the wall have been broken as well, so it's not entirely safe. The smoke try and cover at least the opportunity for Moose to get a plant in. He's not gone for it just yet. There's still a lot of danger lurking around. Your boy drowned 2 HP though, and limited time here as well to try and get everything done on his lonesome 1v2. There might even still be a heal coming up for 100 Thieves, so this doesn't get easier.
Oh. Stop for a second there with Nitro and Hiko on top of each other. There was maybe an opportunity for a bit of a double tap, but it's going to be the single tap of Hiko at the end just to let him know exactly how things then felt. But talk about the play from Steel, just finessing that rope, never allowing Stellar to get the spike planted. That ends up winning the round in my mind.
And a very respectable one tap from Hiko as well. I know you already brought it up, but that's just it's the difference between just like emptying a clip into a dead body versus the very respectable, like, I see your body there. I'm gonna go for a one tap, and that's gonna be it for the end of the round. But speaking of Steel, yeah, I think bringing up his initial kill onto, I believe it was Stella, who was trying to go for the plant, massive in terms of the tempo of that particular round. As LG now looking for a bit more of a standard default, one mid, one towards B, just to see if it could be open, possible contact even. Went through for Thief.
Well, it's gonna, we'll still be in play potentially. Oh, right underneath.
The wall on A is weird, by the way.
He's gonna see the information, gets the tap. It's just a lurk play as well. What does that do to 100T's defense? It's actually gonna push Asuna to actually play a little bit closer to B. This is gonna make things much easier for LG. They're gonna have numbers as they try to approach over towards A.
I think LG should be able to pull over more because LG have gone completely silent on A. Ethan doesn't know what's going on here. He sees the wall come down. But besides that, it's just like nothing's happening here. Meanwhile, they dropped the player on B. If it wasn't for the fact that Asuna's here to check, LG could have overcommitted. But now Asuna actually looking towards green. They know it's a fake. They know that LG should be still committing to A. And that's because of Asuna pushing up as far as he has.
All right, well, point of contact about to come through. Ethan will read it. Steps down. Nitro going to slow the approach, at least from one side. Will force LG over towards Ethan's direction, in which he finds the first, tries for the second. Why not? How about a third up top? No, but the trade will be there. 3-for-1 exchange. Nitro cleaning up the pieces, just down to aproto, and he's already been figured out inside the dark cover. Beautiful clearance from Asuna, just playing through the flank, and then beyond that, even better for Ethan just to respond to all the players coming his direction.
I think LG, or maybe they would have been a little bit shocked towards the end there. They were probably thinking A has got to be more clear than this. There's no way there's like two people still waiting on A. There's a real world where perhaps, I mean, I know Thief doesn't want to overcommit. I know he doesn't want to potentially give his life away after getting one kill. It would be kind of foolish to die there, but he doesn't know there's no one else sitting on A at all. It would have been free gun if he went for it. But that's kind of hindsight information here. And then LG kind of waited long enough for Asuna to then eventually get that rotate in, and for 100 Thieves to have that kind of discipline to not just fully rotate off A and keep still more than a few members there, that's massive for them winning that round.
Or for the cojones for Asuna just to play through A by himself, in which he very well could have given over a weapon if LG was positioned over towards A, or pardon me, towards B.
B, yeah.
Yeah. So Thief once more, playing a solo mission. Asuna's on the other side of yellow. Could once again be point of contact, but Asuna not feeling nearly as frisky this round, at least not as of yet. The spike is actually rotating over, so maybe an instance where LG want to try to follow up on Thief's position.
I think the one area of the map they're not too sure about is Tube right now if you're 100 Thieves, but being behind yellow is really good because so far it hasn't been checked, and we've started to note for defending teams as well, having yellow control super important, backed with a lot of utility, and Asuna might have a timing for a swing. He indeed does. Just the one is fine for now. Oh my god, he nearly got 3. That would have been so big, but 100 Thieves now have more than enough kills to win the round.
I mean, how brilliant, though, is this setup for 100 Thieves and the combination of Asuna and Steel? Our observers, you know, big credit there. They kind of show you where the alarm bot and nano swarm is. And then as soon as Asuna wants to take the challenge, Steel hits the nano swarm to clear any close contenders, and it gives them a free look at a pretty wide angle. It's really nice polarity between both of those two. Leaving now LG in a 2v3 situation, not a lot of time, and Dre's going to recognize that there are a couple of contestants right through orange. Now up to just Moose, 1v3, no time to plant, would have to be the eliminations, will not even be able to do that, and 100 Thieves will have a handful of weapons to collect as they go shopping at the end of the round.
Super devastating round for LG to lose, and a massive pickup there for 100 Thieves as well in terms of the economy. This comes down just from a great timing from Asuna. I'm a little surprised no one from LG even really looked at yellow. They just assumed it was clear. They didn't personally clear it themselves. They drop a number of deaths before even really getting towards a spike plant. Lose their spike planet. End in a 1vx situation. Despite killing Steel, I mean, that's the only thing they got to work with. LG now. Is it going to be an increased tempo? Do they go for something different here? It's upgraded pistols all around for the team. A couple of smokes coming through over towards A just to keep 100 Thieves guessing, and more slow walking through B. This time no one's going to be there to meet them just yet.
I guess I'm just kind of curious. You go back a couple of rounds ago where LG get that first pick from Thief. Did they maybe miss a timing on when to hit? Maybe they're playing mid-touch too cautious. Now they're looking to just get right on to B. Nanostorm is in a position to stop maybe a default plant. But LG have not revealed their position whatsoever. There's been no utility sent out. Now finally the Barrier Orb comes in. Proto will also be scouted down by the Owl drone. And as he does, the play through the middle of the map will come through. Meanwhile, though, off-screen, Stellar finds one of his own. So it goes 4v4. Stellar looking to get the plant off, and he once again gets shrugged backwards. Deep on a bit of a flank play, only able to get one. The Hunter's Fury's also in the mix. That's from the offensive Luminosity, but 100 Thieves have already once again stopped the plant and retaken the B site.
Flashes come through as well. Smokes come down over towards Yellow. There's going to be very limited support coming through from Moose for the rest of the round. Unless he wants to try and swing by, he'll do that. He'll go down. 100 Thieves will pick up their 9th round, 4th in a row for this particular half as well, feeding the ult charge over towards Nitro, secures the resurrection for the following round, and 100 Thieves on their way to double digits, I'm starting to believe here, as LG, I mean, yeah, it was just the Sheriff round, it was just the Thrifty, wasn't it? It was just an Eco coming on through. They are really, I don't know, not a lot to be found there, not even in terms of getting enough damage done. Plant's decent for at least the money. I think getting the plant minimum allows people to be a little bit more comfortable in picking up the utility and whatnot. 3 ultimates online for 100 Thieves are an all pretty important one. All 3 massive.
Look, it's just 100 Thieves defense has been their weaker side, and a lot of that is weighted by the T1 game where they gave up 11 offensive rounds. But that is a couple of different rounds where they have stalled LG's initial plant. The first time around when we mentioned it, it never came down. The second time right there, it does eventually get into play, but it's not nearly as quickly as Luminosity were hoping for, and it gives such a big opportunity for 100 Thieves to contest the post plant much faster. So now a lot of ultimates on the table for what will be a very important gun round, surely. Spike is left over through middle, and aproto will be dealing with what was essentially a 1v2 off screen. He gets the first, but is immediately traded, so we go 4v4 with the 60 seconds to play.
Spike hasn't been collected yet, so LG will need to go back for that one. But the fact they got the wall down early, Nitro's wall is gone, that's going to be important for LG eventually, being that 100 Thieves will maybe struggle a little bit more in the retake there. Breeze is going to come through as well. So still 5v4 situation. The rest of the ultimates for 100 Thieves are still really good. They still have a lockdown for the retake, so maybe they're not too concerned about losing the wall early. Speaking of contesting, by the way, you did have Thief kind of walking around B, but his team had already committed, or was still definitely committing towards A. So despite B being clean, they're deep on A now, but 100 Thieves are here pretty much with all members.
Yeah, so this is going to feel like a 3v5 right now for Luminosity. Defensive lockdown is placed in a beautiful timing. Ethan, as his dark cover expires, will he try to challenge this plant or just find the kill as soon as the exit comes through? He will do the latter, finds the easy elimination. Now we actually have a true 5v3. Nitros is going to immediately stick for at least half of this. He's going to stand up maybe for a little bit longer, but as he does, it's Luminosity who are able to pick up the pieces. A bit of a flank coming over. This is Asuna trying to make his way in, finds the first kill. A bit of panic, but things will calm down for just a moment. Now a 1v1. Raise on raise. Showstopper, blast back over the top, and oh, Asuna blindly takes down Thief, clears the space with every bit of utility, throws out a deep Showstopper, and 100 Thieves successfully get the defuse.
Is there like something that's the opposite of a Rosa ult? Because that's like the opposite of seeing a kill, not getting it with a Showstopper versus basically blindly throwing through a Showstopper and it landing perfectly in a 1v1. Asuna with the clutch. Take a look at that again. He just got, I think he might have just barely have seen Thief's head or spoken out with something, but limited information for sure. That needed to be massive because that round was looking like it was going LG. You have to know as well, Thief also had a Showstopper. If Asuna goes for the defuse and the timing is good enough for Thief, which it probably would have been, Thief goes for his own ultimate and the round is over. Like, that's it. So 100 Thieves, 10 rounds collected, and 5 in a row in a round that it looked like LG were going to get.
Unreal. The boom bot to clear space early, the paint shells kind of clearing mid-range, and then the Showstopper downtown. Lockdown very early here. Hiko trying to finesse with the shock darts. It was close. NT, both of them just a bit high, but this attacking lockdown will only gain them a bit of space. And Ethan is actually checking to see would there actually be a defensive rotation back around. He does commit. He was detained, as you mentioned, but he will be able to recover. And now technically 100 Thieves have given up the site, but they could play for full surround on the retake, in which Ethan already has found first blood.
The Res is available, but they have to go back for that one. Right now, they're pretty hard committed. Asuna on the thief again. Asuna going big. 3 kills. And Asuna right now, he's carrying on the performance for not just the last round, but the last map as well. This entire day, 100 Thieves, 5 players alive, a flawless round, 11 now, and 6 in a row for 100 Thieves off the back of major heroics from Asuna. How many kills is he on? This is 20 plus for sure now.
I mean, in the last match he played versus Genji, went bind. I think they were through 7 rounds. He was on like 14 or 15 kills and only 2 deaths. This is just unreal. I mean, what? It's like, bruh. I'm sure plenty of sheesh is going around in the chat right now. That's just unbelievable. 21 and 14.
Getting the way here, and this is the kind of performance you want to see out of a duelist. When you've only got one of them, you better hope your one duelist is packing some real heat. And right now, he's doing more than that. He's packing it and then some on a real heater for both teams. And for LG, when you think they should be winning some more of these, they're really not. They still have ultimates to play through, and I feel like they got to start leading into some of that. There's no time to even raise. I mean, as soon as just flying through your team, getting these skills so fast, you don't get a chance to just slow things down, get one player back in. They're basically forcing into this round as well. I mean, 3 people have rifles. You have Share for a Proto, which is, you know, on his best day, probably just equivalent to a rifle for a Proto anyway. Bulldog on Stellar. Still workable, but it's been a number of workable rounds, and all 6 of them so far in this half have not gone their way.
Now, here's the thing. For Luminosity, you've... I was going to say survived through a handful of ultimates, but you didn't. But you've got an opportunity here with a showstopper and res of your own to try to reduce this gap, but Asuna has other things in mind. Steel also just spamming through the double box, trying to get as much damage as possible. Oh my goodness! Asuna, what in the world? They know exactly where the last player in a Proto is. He's going to be stuck between a rock, a hard place, and an Asuna, and oh my goodness, 100 Thieves. 12-7 map point.
Asuna refuses to lose today. He refuses to lose. It doesn't matter who he goes up against. It doesn't matter what the matchup is. It doesn't matter what the odds are. His aim is perfect here. It's just the... Look at this. Look at the transfer. Asuna's on... I don't even know what's going on. This is like... To say he's on a heater would be an understatement now. The scoreline is incredible. It's 2 in a row as well in terms of not just the rounds that we're seeing, but again, on the last map versus Genji as well that you outlined, it's very similar. It's Asuna going absolute buck wild, and he just has not slowed down, has not taken his foot off the pedal.
I mean, it's just, there's not enough words. I mean, throughout this entire weekend, every single map, there's moments where you can just be like, okay, Asuna might just be the best player in the game. Opportunity for maybe a 1v1 here versus Proto. Yeah, why not?
He's too sharp, man. He's too sharp. He just flicks to the head. Can't challenge him. You can't challenge. You have to mark him with like 2 people now. Okay, Moose will get it through the wall, at least with an ultimate as soon as like, that's cheating, buddy. LG right now need all the help they can get. They need a lot of help as Hiko's going to slow down this plant, prevent it from coming on through LG. They might even want to think about, no, they can't go for the risk, can they? They would love to make this a 5v4, but I think it would be too dangerous. Now about 40-ish kind of seconds remaining. They are moving the spike all the way off, potentially going over towards A. Nitro will be the only responder there. That's if Ethan doesn't spot a rotation over towards mid either. Thief might just want to stick around and lurk to keep the rest of 100 Thieves interested. Left. But we'll see how many members of 100 Thieves actually start moving around the map, as LG themselves are not super decided. They move to A and now come back to B.
Yeah, Ethan will get a little bit of a read here as well, so they should know that this is going to be a pretty last-second hit. I think the question is, what do you do to deal with Steel right now? I mean, he is locked up. The sentry turret is in a solid position. Ethan watching the opposite angle. All right, let's go to Ascent. 4v1 situation. Dre, not enough time for a plant, not enough time for the kills. And Asuna and this rolling hoop tape that he's been able to put on throughout the day continues. 13-7, 100 Thieves up 1.
Wrap it up.
Dude.
Tie it in a bow. Send it off. Asuna, signed, sealed, and delivered here. By far the most outstanding player I've crossed both teams on this server today in this particular matchup. It is ridiculous what he's pulling off. I mean, you can't challenge this guy at 1v1. You just can't challenge him at all. He's winning clutches. He's getting insane multi-kills off spray transfers, just everything. He's doing everything, and he's being supported by some of the best players as well on his team. And, you know, he's got full support on the team. It's basically 4 supports in Asuna. It's like 5 protect 1 here. I feel like I'm looking at a MOBA where you just have this one juggernaut carry coming through on Asuna, destroying the other team. And now it's gone from, like, you know, I'm gonna dive in front of a rocket to save my boomers to, like, 4 boomers protect me. You know what I'm saying? So
unreal. Well, you mentioned signed, sealed, and delivered, and apparently, like a fool, LG went and stayed just a touch too long. But Stevie Wonder lyrics aside, we'll send things away for a break, and we'll come back to kind of give you the recap, which is essentially just going to be a highlight reel full of Asuna, and we'll get things set up for Ascent when we come back after right this break.
What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice.
And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless?
On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing.
Oh, baby. Contrast stitching. Curves that'll hug your body. Adjustable arms. Custom embroidery. Memory foam pillows. Changeable color inserts. Lay flat, recline. Removable logos. Soft, durable material. Yeah. You like what you see, baby? Zip chair.
I feel like I need to defend my scene's honor here, because this is just turning into a bit of a dog battle.
Like, in groups always look.
I'm cutting you off here. I'm cutting you off. Cutting you off. He said G2's winning it. He said G2's winning it.
We need to wait till the next EU tournament, which could be in about 10 years now.
Take it with like a grain of salt.
No,
but
that's
that
no
being
fun.
said,
Take it super literally.
Spike defused.
Welcome back there, everybody. I hold shift with Avril, and we were treated to a hot affair on Icebox. Well, we were treated to an Asuna affair on Icebox, apparently. 13-7, the final score for map number 1. And I don't know what else to say about Asuna, man. I mean, it was just him every single round after every single round. After every single round, it felt like.
And that includes 8 rounds of defense in a row, by the way, coming through from 100 Thieves after what was a pretty decent comeback from Luminosity. 7-5 comeback as well, and you're going to see a bit of Hiko play. Aproto had some nice plays as well over here. The lineup saw some decent sheriff shots, but at one point, you know, I think it was definitely on the second half here after we get through everything that happened in the first half here. You know, you saw some decent heroics coming through from the rest of the members across the board, and then Asuna takes over. Here we go. The clutch that we already know and love. Showstopper. Flying Steve, and now that we're looking at for like the 3rd time, I don't think he even sees Steve. Just has a really good read on him. And just to really go back in time for the fellas as well, in terms of pulling out a page from the history books here. December 6, 2020, when you are the entry, you can't falter. Relentless aggression. I am given duelists to make sure my boomers do not die to rockets. I will gladly give up my life to watch them clutch. Now I think we've turned over a new leaf. We've turned over, written a new chapter for Asuna, and instead of dying for his boomers, really now it's the boomers holding him up. It's about supporting the Asuna, raising the Asuna. It's that scene from The Lion King where, you know, you're raising him on top of, I can't even remember the
Pride
rock.
Rock.
The
Pride Rock. Come on there, Avril.
Yeah, I know. Look, sorry, it's been a while. It's been a long time. I didn't watch the remake. Anyway, Asuna, looking great, being held up by his team, and he's holding up the team on his shoulders as well, his gigantic shoulders right now as we move on to map number 2 for Ascent. And it will be, you know, maybe LG in a bit of trouble here, because I thought that Icebox was going to be one of LG's better maps in this series. Ascent, we know, is at least slightly favored for 100 Thieves, and 100 Thieves are still winning this map. LG, looking back on the history as well, I mean, you know it as well as I do, but Ascent's been pretty 50-50 and maybe leaning towards more losses than wins, especially recently.
Yes, going back to the Challengers 2 main event, they've actually only won this map a single time in the 5 instances that they've played it, and that was versus TSM here in Challengers number 3. Now, to be fair, again, a lot of those recent matchups that we're kind of citing are pretty tight affairs. I mean, all things said and done, nothing was below a 6-13, so we saw nearly 20 rounds plus in almost every single instance that Luminosity has played here. But for 100 Thieves, I mean, they come out of that round 32 nail-biter versus Gen G in their most recent matchup. They also have another convincing win versus not just TSM, but also T1. So they're riding a little high as well, really, after that first day where they kind of had some trepidations versus NRG.
And so, I mean, I'm just looking back on all of the performances now. It's just sort of lined up what we can expect from LG here. And I don't feel great about this map anymore. I'm not too sure if this is going to be one of those maps for LG that is going to be dependable enough for the win to come on through here. 100 Thieves are looking like they're really pulling through big time. And it's not just Asuna as well. You still have Hiko on the back line. You still have other guys that are pulling through massive as well. Steel, I think, has been playing great throughout this entire tournament. This, to me, would have to be, I think, Thief on the Reyna really stepping up to kind of match Asuna's level, especially. Now, we are still seeing a decent amount of Thief coming through on Reyna on this map.
Right,
He's been playing the entire time. He's got no reason to change now. And LG have to kind of be that team again. You know, we knew them to be this aggressive team. We knew them to be a contacting style team. We knew them to be a team where Thief isn't afraid to swing you. He's a good enough player that he's going to be able to win a lot of these duels. The only problem is when you have Asuna on the level that he's on, Thief has got to be at least on that same level now for LG to really come back big.
Yeah, is it going to take 2 duelists from Luminosity just to match the prowess that we're getting out of the solo duelists from 100 Thieves? Yeah, I hate to kind of leave it in one department, but that's definitely where my gaze goes to first, especially considering the fact that there will be a different lopsided affair when it comes to the duelists overall here for Ascent. And then beyond that, I mean, it's just, when you've got Asuna doing the things that he's doing, I mean, plus 10 in that last match, I mean, I don't even remember the stat line that he had, but it was a very positive one versus Gen G when they played on Bind, and even when they were playing on Ascent, he played really, really well. So, yeah, I hesitate to say that it's all going to be determined by what happens in the duelist battle, but I think it'd be hard-pressed to really kind of search for it somewhere else. Maybe with the exception of being someone like Proto, who is really, really confident when he plays kind of on an island by himself as that Sentinel. Will there be the opportunity for that still to exist, I think, for Luminosity? Because, let's be honest, you know, in Icebox, Proto on Killjoy didn't get a chance to really see too much actual interactions defensively towards his site. He was always last on rotation. So if he is going to be trusted to play at an island and 100 Thieves try to hit him, can he also potentially try to quell that aggression from someone like Asuna?
And I don't know if it's Thief's day today. I mean, we can talk about the fact that on that previous map, you know, Thief goes 13-18, which is not the best that we've ever seen from Thief, especially not on a duelist.
Sure.
Looking back on their matchup versus FaZe as well, which, you know, some will say is a bit of a surprise one. I think everyone is surprised that FaZe is in the grand finals right now. But then, you know, looking over that, you have Thief going 15-16, which is, you know, for a guy like Thief who normally has such massive maps, that seems very slow compared to someone like Corey who was on 27-13.
Yeah.
Icebox as well. It's interesting, by the way, we're going over the exact same maps in the same order. So we go Icebox, Ascent, and then straight into Bind. You almost kind of repeat a little bit of how Luminosity's upper finals game kind of going. If it goes that same way, then it's going to be an 0-2 result. So it needs to be a very different Ascent here. It needs to be Luminosity turning around that Ascent result they had earlier.
Well, again, just kind of going back into the history, not only for former Asuna tweets that could be logged in the virtual archives for Valorant, but also the last time that these two teams played, again, you talked about the fact that this is essentially a same repeat performance, but at different rosters, you know, since the last time that they had played. So is there any consideration, we've asked the question before about 100 Thieves, again, continuing to play the Sage, which is not strange for Valorant at large, but is definitely rare in North America compared to other regions. Have they maybe just figured out a different play style that a lot of other NA teams just have hesitated to even really attempt yet, in your mind?
I think teams are more willing to go back to the Sage now. I'm looking across compositions as well. LG's not going to be one of them. It's funny, by the way, because I actually think Hiko's impact on the Breach has usually been high, but he's so far been only willing to play the Breach. I believe it's Haven, and then every other map outside of Split. I think on Split, no, on Split he would go to Sage as well, wouldn't he? Because that would be another Sage map. It seems like he'll, in theory, go Sage 4 out of the 5 maps. Go Breach on one of the map, even though I think his Breach so far has been fantastic. I know most people who've looked at his Breach have said the same things.
Sure.
But this is going to be a team now where I think it's more leaning towards the EU style. It's one duelist versus the 2 duelists. I wonder how far 100 Thieves can really refine this type of composition. Now that they've made it into Masters, for me, it's not about whether they can win this Challengers 3 with this type of composition, this playstyle. It's how they take this into Masters with a little bit more time. My biggest concern for this team, especially hearing about the rumors of what they're going to be bringing to the table, then confirming that on day one when we cast them versus NRG, was that maybe they hadn't had enough time yet to integrate Ethan to get this composition, this playstyle underway. But they've had a couple more days now, look a bit more comfortable, and then by the time we get to Masters, I think 100 Thieves will have a much cleaner playstyle with this single duelist, assuming they're going to stick to it. So they might now be potentially redefining NA meta if they can be one of the higher performing teams with this kind of gameplay out in tow.
Taking a look as the agents are being selected, Luminosity fully locked into what exactly we would have expected. And just to speak more about Luminosity, just kind of over the stat lines, what they've been able to do in the VCT so far, defensively has been their favorite side, winning 56% of the time on average. But to be fair, their attack has also been pretty formidable. 47% win rate there for them, so that is where things will be tasked to first, as they will start on the offensive side. And once again, for 100 Thieves, same things really expected across the board, and you figure that Hiko will just be the last one to lock in onto the Sova. And just more as far as how their defense is kind of structured, it's actually been their defense that has gotten them through the majority of these ascents so far. On average, they win 70% of their defensive rounds, so both teams on their favorite sides to start.
So looking across compositions, I think you've noted this already, but no real surprises on either side. We're looking towards that defense as well in terms of the stat lines. And, I mean, going back to previous matchups as well, I think particularly the Luminosity versus FaZe side of things, you had, what was it, a 5-7 start for LG. They were on the attacking side. They started the attack again. Pretty reasonable, pretty acceptable. Then they only had 3 on the defending side. So based on recency bias here, I'm going to be looking out for what Luminosity can do on the defensive side. That being said, though, if you look at a lot of the games that 100 Thieves have played, especially when we go back to the 100 Thieves Gen G game, if I just take a look at that scoreline again, it was a really, really rough start for the 100 Thieves side on their attack. Now, they were attacking, so the defending, sure. And part of, I think, the skewedness of talking about their defense was the fact that they had to make a 10-2 comeback on that defense to even get to the OT, to play for 32 rounds, to then win the OT versus Gen G. So what you don't want to see if you are rooting for 100 Thieves today is a slow start, because they've had to really make a lot of comebacks happen. And sure, it looks great when they do that, but then you also have the Haven where they don't make the comeback happen and they kind of lose.
And I guess on the opposite side, you're kind of rooting for the exact polar opposite for LG. See if your offense can break through this 100 Thieves defense first. It'd be great if they could find a way to get this pistol. Nanoswarm will initially stall the play, but LG not going to hesitate whatsoever. Ethan by himself keeping a dark cover into play to see if he can stay alive, and he does one better by finding a first elimination. Also now help is here for 100 Thieves as this pistol is unfolding very quickly. Steal for a second, but still Luminosity fighting back, trying to at least 2v3 last members for LG underneath. And while Moose has single-handedly done everything for this Luminosity offense as they dodge one of the shock darts, and things slow for a moment as we go 2v2.
And thankfully Moose is alive as well, because he's got a lot of utility still in there. So the recon coming on through, trying to go for the plant, get being covered by Dre. First contact, Dre's not looking the right way. Nitro finds the time to get the headshot and will convert onto Moose, as well as allow for now Defuse to come on in, handing over a couple of frenzies. And while it looked like maybe Moose and LG were in for a bit of a heroic round there, 100 Thieves via Nitro shut it down.
Wow. I mean, really kind of felt like after Ethan gets that first blood and Steel happens for the second, that 100 Thieves, there's really no way that you can drop this pistol, but Moose definitely makes it interesting for a moment. Just comes down to at the end, that 2v2, you mentioned the timing of it all, really not favoring Luminosity, trying to force the spike plant into play sooner rather than later, and that's where Nitro is able to feast. So a pistol round win for 100 Thieves, and this is the one team that, you know, we've kind of marked a lot about Steel. He continues to put himself on the Bucky, even when he's got more than enough economy to go into something maybe a bit more sturdy as far as an AR is concerned. So we've had questions about would it be successful for this defensive composition through day one, and I think largely, Avril, we've kind of got an answer over the couple of days prior that he's actually been making it work pretty nicely.
Well, I mean, he's stuck to his guns here, and specifically the one gun of the Bucky. He's been having it close by, sleeping with it under his pillow. Probably doesn't feel too comfortable, but he'll take the wins. That's really what matters here at the end of the day. A little bit of lurking, a little bit of defaulting coming through from Thief as well over towards A, just trying to keep 100 Thieves hanging around over towards the A side of things. Now, I do think Steel and the Bucky is more favored for the defense than the offense. Obviously, offensive Bucky here is not going to be as good. With the wall coming down towards B as well, LG need to make some decisions. Like, they probably should be breaking this wall to at least open up the map a little bit. Have still got a bit of a lurk into mid as well, so could be a mid to B, could be a split B.
Nitro does read the information that there are members here for Luminosity, but it's not influencing 100 Thieves' decision on their defensive setup, at least not too much. Hiko will make the rotation over, and as the wall breaks, a slow orb will take its place, with also behind that some paint shells. Shotguns versus Sheriffs in the mix. Steel now making his way forward, and whoa, Proto is able to respond, but again, it comes at a pretty steep cost. 2v4 situations. Proto would have to do a lot more. Gets caught on the reload. Hiko finds the kill, and Nitro pushing through B main gets his third, and 100 Thieves, as expected, take the second round.
Confidence from 100 Thieves showing as well, pushing directly into a Proto who has a Sheriff. I mean, in other cases, we've seen a Proto go large there, but here, unfortunately, he is going to miss the shot. Steel will make the Bucky sing, and as we head into round number 3, you have a rifle on board for Hiko already. Nitro looking towards the pistol, one away from the resurrection. Moose has the 100 Sphere, which is excellently timed for this third round. As LG now, I don't know if they'll think about using it just yet. Maybe if the round goes poorly, Nitro even upgrading towards the rifle. So pretty good equipment coming through from 100 Thieves, all things considered. And now the Bucky, I think, can find some decent value. Look at this close angle 100 Thieves are going to have via Steel.
Gonna try to shoulder just a touch. Nano Swarm will be placed. It will be used immediately, as the Owl Drone was enough of an influence to sit there and say, okay, maybe the push is on the way, but it is a little bit tepid at the moment. Oh my goodness,
What's that?
Steel! That's a one-tap Bucky from across A main. I mean, the spike was never a part of that play, but Steel didn't care one way or the other. A kill is a kill, and 100 Thieves are in an early 5v4.
That's disgusting. That was like a mid to long range kill. And Thief had full armor. Like, what?
Yeah, Bucky's the new operator.
No, well, yeah, but it's the new Stinger, really. It's like $200 cheaper than the Stinger. Has a level of output that is just insane. The only thing the Bucky can't do is, like, challenge super long range, but then neither does the Stinger, really. I think this is going to be potentially Steel convincing a lot of other pros to move towards the Bucky based on what he's able to do here. That one, I know Thief's not going to be happy with that at all. That is the disgusting way to die. And for Thief as well, it's like someone that we were talking about having to really step up as the main duelist for the team, as someone that is going to be supposed to be one of the best players really in the region. He's not got anything done yet. He's, I think, 0 for 3 so far on this map. And dying to steal that way just kind of sucks for Thief individually.
Well, now LG gonna force a square peg into a round hole as they move forward through a ton of utility from Steel. He even steps into the dark cover. Hiko there to watch over the top. Last two members are Proto and Dre. Neither will do too much damage. Steel will even go ahead and recover a Phantom. I imagine he will probably just go ahead and drop that for somebody, and then once again pick up that Bucky. At least that's what he's done in the past. We'll see if that changes here.
It looks like he'll still hold on to it.
Okay.
So, I mean, to be fair, holding on to it means they don't spend money. So if we're going to talk about pure economy here, it means
true.
You're not, like, yeah, you can drop and then I guess the other person doesn't buy, but because you... Actually, what I'm trying to get to here is I think 5 rifles is better. It should be better. I think no one can really argue that 5 rifles should be better, but I'm starting to get convinced. I'm in a bit of a Stockholm syndrome here via Steel using Bucky every single round to the point where I'm starting to think, like, maybe he should just play the Bucky. Maybe it is what he needs to do.
It was so funny because after that first cast that we had, we sat and we kind of talked for a while after they got through NRG. Like, man, is this really a play? Like, it's obviously precognitive that they want to try to get Steel on this Bucky. And, well, every single round we see him use it, we get more and more convinced by it. And now LG on full Sheriffs will ride on into town over through the B site. A little bit of wall bang coming out. Steel not going to be able to find too much off of that, but Asuna from behind. There's number one. How about a second? Maybe just using the paint shells to confirm the third. Yeah, last bullet will actually do it. One more off the reload. Why not? And 100 Thieves just have to track down one, and it's Proto by himself. Later.
The three-pointer, the no-look toss, half court, behind the shoulder, just behind his back even. One hand, straight into the net basket. It's just disgusting. I mean, yeah, we're not going to go nuts over this one because it is versus just pistols versus anti-eco. Last pack's in. Not too sure why, maybe LG weren't super prepared for that one. Didn't hear the info coming through from behind, but the last bullet kill on the Vandal was super impressive. Here, I think aproto just knew it was over. I mean, aproto was not going to ever do too much more here by himself. Give the ace over to Asuna. Showstopper now available off the back of it. So, big plays.
Well, a big round here for Luminosity. Full gun round. You've got to run it back and a Hunter's Fury. So from the POV of our attackers, you would feel like this is a much-needed win. Asuna going to get aggressive with his Showstopper, try to catch people off guard inside B main, of which there are no LG members. And now as Moose gets a tag off of what seemed to have been an Aldrone, he will use the Hunter's Fury and does confirm the first kill. Okay, so now a lot of room to work with for LG. The run it back also committed. Stellar will make sure the site is clear of any utility. But meanwhile, off screen, it's actually Steel who finds the kill. And actually beyond that, the spike is not a part of this hit right now. They're going to wait for the Phoenix to go back, so Stellar will bring it onto site, and that gives an opportunity for 100 Thieves to work their way in. Resurrection comes through, Neural Theft as well, and Asuna will find himself another elimination. Stellar still keeping himself alive, 2v2 situation, curveball up top. He does see the flash, but it does not matter. It gets down to a 1v1.
Proto 80 HP here, 9 armor as well, goes for the fake plant. Hiko, is he gonna peek? Should know that aproto's playing somewhere around Gen, saw the camera location coming on through. Trying to battle some shock darts, and Hiko, there's the damage we're looking for. Secures the 1v1. No spray just yet. Usually he will use the Euro spray, but maybe that one has only been saving for clutches.
Oh, that's not a great round to find outside your favor if you're LG. Such a great start for them. Getting the pick from Moose's Hunter's Fury. Stellar does such a good job of clearing off utility. But the problem is, it's Steel mid-map that dwindles the numbers to a point where 100 Thieves could actually fight for a retake, and fight did they. My goodness.
For glass as well, I think that's where Asuna got his one kill through glass over the tree. I think that was also where Steel was. In either case, it was LG trying to make their way through short. They didn't really transition onto site at all. I mean, some of them did. Stellar tried to make it happen. Nearly heroics, like you said. Because these, are they just trying to consider if they were maybe wall booster into towards B? No, here's the wall now. They'll stop any more aggression coming through from B. I wonder if this is going to be the wall break. It should be. For LG, upgraded pistols onto the Sheriffs, Proto's POV as well. The guy that has been historically really good on the Sheriffs. We'll need to see him land some of these taps.
No more utility for Nitro. Gets tagged. No slow arms are here, but the help from Asuna comes in perfect time. Ethan mid-map able to lock down the rotation from LG through market. And as Hiko gets involved, 100 Thieves will go flawless. And a 6-0 start as would be expected. The only thing really to speak of is the fact that all 5 members survive and they all pretty much get Sheriff upgrades for their secondaries.
Yeah, and I'm looking at that situation. I'm going back to the Ascent that Luminosity played versus FaZe as well, and it's like, I mean, they got 5 versus FaZe, still lost the map overall because of their defense. If we're talking about recency bias here, if we're talking about the fact that they struggled on defense versus FaZe, now I know that's a different matchup versus a totally different playstyle of team, but it doesn't make you feel good about LG's chances after 6 in a row. You know, they would really, for me, have to recover, I would say, minimum 4 rounds here, then perhaps take us to like an OT in the next half. They would definitely have to go for a 4-8 finish.
Not great news, considering that, as mentioned at the top of the map here, that this is LG's favored side statistically, across a pretty large sample size as well. Now, granted, their defense is by no means poor, but comparatively to their offense, it's not been their stronger side. So this time, Luminosity going to try to clear the middle of the map. Aldrone will be spent to try to make its way over through Tree, which Steel has been so good at, locking down with rifles, and that will once again be the case. Run it back, also going to come through for Stellar, using even a curveball and a leer to clear out some of the space. It also gets the alarm bot and a nanostorm, so tons of utility down. Steel will give up his position for a moment, but it doesn't make a difference because Asuna locks things down from the side. And I mean, there hasn't been a clean look at a spike site yet, largely for Luminosity. Hiko picks up after Moose and Stellar find 2. It leaves Moose in a 1v3 situation.
And he'll go for the kills as well. He'll try and challenge this one. You know, it's looking dire, and that's making a real understatement. I want to highlight one specific interaction that I saw on that particular map there, where inside tree, yes, we did see Stellar go for the runner back. Yes, he kind of did have that runner back shut down, but Thief ended up in a 1v1 versus Steel and lost. Now, in a vacuum, that's not the worst thing I've seen in the world, but he's 0-7 right now. Thief, as kind of the star player on this team, or he's meant to be the star player on this team, hasn't won like any duels. He's losing to Steel here, where, you know, nothing gets Steel. I think Steel's been having a fantastic tournament in Challengers 3. So unfortunately for Thief, if you're not coming through big right now, you're going to lose to everyone on 100 Thieves, really. But to go 0-7 after 7 rounds and have 0 impact so far, especially on a role like Reyna, where if you don't have any impact, you're not really doing a lot. And this is kind of Reyna as well, where even an assist would at least give you some orbs to use. This is really poor so far from Thief, unfortunately.
So back to saves. Steel finds first blood. Thief just runs in, taken down no problem. And I mean, this wasn't a round that we expected LG to do too much with, but at the moment in a 3v5, it feels like there's really not much they're going to be able to largely even do to this round, besides maybe find a trail kill here or there as all 3 players back out towards mid. Could potentially be point of contact here with Ethan. Sure will be. He reads it, backs down. Now Nitro picks up. And him and Ethan playing a little bit of a double peak scenario has kept LG in the blender. 8-0 up, another flawless for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, the note from me was to say that Ethan wasn't going to die there. He was just going to cleanly, you know, shoulder peek that one, walk away, dodge the shots, some teammates to come on. And that wasn't going to be the round that LG were likely to come on through big time. This needs to be the round, though. I did say, look, 4 and 8, I think, is the realistic target for LG. Can they still achieve 4 and 8? Absolutely, I think they can. But the more rounds they've dropped now, the more I'm starting to believe, you know, 3-9. I'm starting to look towards 2-10 as well. Look, Thief, yeah, he's on 0 and 8, but to be fair, that last round was just an eco. Probably wasn't expecting too much. He kind of just walks into his death as well, which is either the most Thief thing you've seen or like just really shouldn't have happened. But in either case, I think this is the round. This is the round where I'd like to see Thief really come up, and this is the round that LG need to win to get that 4 and 8.
Aggression through the middle of the map here. You saw that recon bolt be laid out. Hunter's Fury is also a part of this for Hiko. He does get a tag on one player, but the rifles that are turning their attention towards mid, I was about to say they come up empty, but Asuna is able to get the wall bang on the Thief. Another first blood in his favor. Oh, why not? Showstopper, blast pack. How about one more in the corner? No, it's Dre who stays alive, revealed by the recon bolt, and careful here. Aproto has made his way through the middle of the map, or has he? Okay, so now he's actually found himself too, but 100 Thieves eventually get the trades that were right in front of them, and it leaves Moose down to a 1v2. Plenty of time to play with, though.
And I think he'll, you know, I was even thinking about a situation where Moose and LG don't have money. It's a 1v2. He's going to go for this one. He has a post plant with the Hunter's Fury as well. We also don't have enough rounds. Like I said, they have to kind of win this one. They don't want to just leave this down to 3 and 9. So this is going to have to be an instant clutch coming through. He's going to try and secure the location. Recon will reveal maybe a couple people on top. I don't know if this is the best post plant for a solo play because he can't quite see it from long.
Yeah.
And, well, he's already dead. He can't even leave the site, can he? Ideally, he plants for long, then escapes too long, or maybe he plants somewhere a little bit further to the left in the corner behind where he goes standing here so that he can maybe go back towards tree and play from short. He could technically play in hell, but in a 2v1, if they both drop down, both 100 Thieves members drop down at the same time and double peek him, he's not going to win that. So it's a difficult situation where Moose would have to do something and play for the Hunter's Fury ideally. And there, as you can see, Asuna just kind of spamming through mid onto the catwalk. And if you're wondering why those shots connect enough to get a kill, it's because Thief also ate a Hunter's Fury shot from Hiko. So he's just sitting there like a bullet magnet, he's just collecting damage from everything. He just eats the Hunter's Fury shot, takes him down to like half HP, and then enough wallbang bullets from Asuna takes him down. So yeah, this is LG with 4 ultimates and a requirement, I would say, to win the next 3 rounds.
They've got a lot of tools to do it, but the problem is a lot of the members are on just light armors. Boombot will be the first thing forward defensively for 100 Thieves to make sure there is no early pressure through B main. And with that, Nitro actually steps into this garage area, considers the play. Asuna gets some information off of a recon bolt, and Thief he's dead. Does delete one, but look at all these blue members that are running at him. Ethan finds the kill, no problem. Completely caught off guard. Asuna finds more. And Luminosity, well, at this point in time, you mentioned a required round. They can't even get through cyber cages or buildings right now.
I want everyone to know I'm not picking on the guy. I'm just reading the scoreline. That's it. I'm just spitting the facts. That's it. That's all it is. I feel bad. I feel really bad for what's happening to Thief in this game. I feel bad for LG so far in terms of what is about to be 0-10. Not just for Thief, but also for the team's rounds here. Asuna can't miss a single shot. What's really happening here is Asuna, the reason why he's on such a heater as he cleans up 3 kills is he's actually stolen Thief's heater. So now he's got 2 heaters that he's sitting next to. And so Thief doesn't have one. He's a bit cold today. 5 ultimates now, and LG... the expectations just keep dwindling for me. It's like they need 4 and 8. Oh, now they need 3 and 9. Oh, now they need 2 and 10. It's just, it keeps going down, and eventually I feel like I'm going to find myself saying now they need 1 and 11. Oh, well, it's 0 and 12 now. I guess it's over. You know, it's. I'm trying to find. I'm trying to be serviceable. I'm trying to find a way to help LG here, to get them back in this game, but I just don't know what words to say anymore. Thief does have a rifle. He has the Empress available. No one else from LG really has a good enough gun here, so if this is the round for Thief to come back big, this is definitely the round then.
We'll see what the commitment would be as far as trying to free him up to get this Empress into a place of utility and potential effectiveness. Proto has worked his way up through the catwalk over towards tree, which in its own self feels like a bit of a success considering how the last couple of rounds have gone. Or deleted. Run it back will be spent. Stellar the first one forward with the Spectre. Has a Lear to also assist for this. Knows there's a player up top. Ethan's still able to find one. Steal another. We go 2 for 2 overall. Now as the hit continues that to come through, it's Asuna from the flank. Ah, boy. Still no Empress. Asuna up top trying to change the angle. Proto, decent flick through the wall, finds the kill, so opportunity starting to brew. 2v2 situation, and Thief is actually able to put it all onto the shoulders of one. It's Nitro for the 1v2 that he'll to break down to the post-plant setup.
Here we go. LG's round is finally going to come into play. There's not going to be a resurrection for Nitro either. He has a decent amount of utility, and instantly, Thief with a headshot coming in through. And I was going to say he doubled up his kills, but O times 2 would have been O. But he's just gotten, he's on the board now. We're back into a round for LG. The 210 dream is alive here rather for in terms of the round score. And then you better hope LG, if you are an LG fan, you better hope that LG have the most phenomenal defense ever. We've seen 100 Thieves themselves come back from a 210 deficit today. We know it's possible, but that is 100 Thieves, and this is LG. LG to make that possible as well, they would have to be playing out of their minds, and it would, by the way, require them to win this round as well.
Yep. I mean, at least there's a blip on the heart rate monitor here for LG. Offense going to get things going with an early Hunter's Fury, just trying to clear out a bit of space. Steel did not fully see information on the members that were pushed up A initially, so he will sneak into Wine, but Luminosity looked like they want to actually make a play through mid-map, and as Nitro, did he actually see information off that shoulder? Seems to think that he maybe has, as he does set up for the barrier orb, and will kind of stall things out a bit as Steel pushes forward, though he does confirm first blood.
2 as well. Now LG, okay, they do respond with 1. Thief gets traded here, still 2 alive. No Empress lockdown available for 100 Thieves, and it's looking like they're going to lock down the first half of Ascent, and probably they're going to be locking down the entire series here as well. Proto's going to try his best to get some more damage in with 1 alive on a Proto and 27 HP. I would normally say 27 HP and a Dream, but I don't think the Dream is alive.
Bot coming back.
Well, you'll have to do it from the middle of the map with no spike, as you see 100 Thieves members are having a bit of a kumbaya over the top of it at the moment. Spy cam could have been maybe useful, but it gets deleted, and now Nitro working around the back might just be able to catch the timing here to find this kill for free. Though Proto has snuck into this cubby, only for a small time though. So the half goes 11-1. It's going to have to be an incredible LG comeback if they want to try to find their way to a potential, well, let's be honest, overtime likely. Set things to a halftime break, and we'll come back to figure out exactly how the second half fares right after this. Welcome back there, friends. Avril, not sure what I can leave you here as far as trying to break down the first half out of the fact that it's just all 100 Thieves so far.
And this is going to be, look, we've seen a 210 comeback. I've only ever really seen a 111 comeback. That was version
Single
1,
time.
I believe, that we casted.
Yep.
It's a totally different matchup, though. This is versus a team like 100 Thieves, who I would have said this. And by the way, 100 Steel is just completely fragging, so it's kind of already over. The reason why I'm not even really covering too much more of this is I'm just really expecting 100 Thieves to come through massively and clean up 12-1, and then eventually maybe the 13-1. LG will force by next round predictably, and then I don't know that they're going to be able to win that one. 100 Thieves were a team that even if they lost the first half, I would have still looked at the second half and favored them anyway. But now with Nitro getting the Counter-Stellar 4v2, low HP for 100 Thieves, they might have a heal available. I don't know that LG can do much more.
I can almost hear just like a Steel maniacal giggle after he finds those two sheriffs. It was off screen, right down main, right over towards Catwalk. I mean, what in the world do you say about it? It's goodness. Plant down, barrier blocking off heaven. Spy cam, thanks for trying. LG 2v4. Now, a couple of members are low, so this sheriff from Proto really can't do a lot of work, as I think Nitro and Asuna had a bit of a conversation of, why didn't you heal me, man? But coming over through the side of Tree, Hiko's gonna have a recon bolt, and Steel's just not missing headshots apparently. Gonna get the better of only one, but pistol still, as you would figure, would be secured, and we're on match point.
I'll be honest here. I mean, looking at this, it's getting a little bit difficult to call now. And call being casting, it's easy to call that 100 Thieves are going to win. That's an easy call. The call, what I'm talking about, is in terms of trying to find something to work through from LG. They're having a bad day. Apparently, life's not good. 100 Thieves, though, they've had a bit of a ripper, haven't they? They've made a huge comeback in their previous game versus Gen G. They pretty much have won the lower bracket final now. They're going to go up against FaZe, and I think there's a strong argument to make that they could probably win the grand final there. And I don't want to underestimate FaZe because they've gotten to the grand finals all fair and square. This is going to be the final bye, I think, for LG. They're going to force into this one. Honestly, it would be a miracle for them to string together a round or two, but for 100 Thieves, I'm looking at a 13-1, maybe at most like a 13-2-3, but 13-1 is probably the scoreline here.
Well, the weapons will be essentially force buy, but it's going to be force sheriffs, and I think an Ares that was picked up from LG defensively. So there will be a lot of firepower on the table in terms of kill potential. Just comes down to, can you start to stall out this heater that we keep talking about for not just Asuna, but the 100 Thieves roster on whole has been playing so well in the last 48 hours. There will be 3 members defensively in and around the A site for Luminosity. Asuna's been the first one to check, of which Thief is here to try to contest it. Shots just a touch better for Asuna than it was for Thief, resulting in a first blood, and now 100 Thieves have the numbers to try to push their way forward, and they will. LG, do you try to contest this? Well, your attempt to will be stopped, and Asuna up top. A little bit of parkour to get on top of the barrier, or we'll find one more. We go 4v3 where LG need to get a retake, and Stellar's first headshot will make life just a touch easier.
It is workable. The numbers at least working slightly better for LG. I don't know that they have the right equipment here. It's going to be mostly sheriffs. They haven't really picked up any guns on the floor. Time will start running out now. Smoke plus Nano Swarm on the ground. A decent post point. You can see how far away Steel is. You also have over towards Tree Nitro playing as well. Ethan gets the kill a second, and that might be the game. 13-1. LG are done.
Wow. We weren't here for a long time, but if you're a 100 Thieves fan, you were there for a good time. My goodness. Yeah. And, end of the day, I hesitate to bring it up. It's just the